NBA YoungBoy.
NBA YoungBoy. Why did Atlantic basically tell YoungBoy, listen, after 22 albums that you dropped in a time period where we only contracted you to do 5, we'll negotiate and give you this amount of money, but we ain't giving you a motherfucking part of your masters back. Oof. These are real.
Today, we're watching the truth about NBA YoungBoy's $100 million slave deal. Yo, it doesn't matter how much they give these dudes, the labels always win in the end. And by the end of this video, I guarantee y'all are gonna start looking at your favorite artist just a little bit differently, maybe even with sympathy after this video, bro. But anyway, let's get right into this.
One of the most lit and authentic street rappers of today's generation, with even some of his counterpart artists comparing himself to Michael Jackson of the modern day. Now, YoungBoy has made his label hundreds of millions of dollars, seeing little to no return. But who was the record label who was committing this daytime robbery against a 17-year-old NBA YoungBoy? Well, you guessed it, and it's Atlantic Records. In 2022, NBA YoungBoy made a statement expressing that he felt he was being blackballed while in a slave deal with Atlantic. But what were the terms of this record label contract? You see, in August of 2017, NBA YoungBoy signed a 5-album, 5-year deal with Atlantic Records for $2 million advance, which would be the money that he would have to pay back or his label would have to recoup before he made a cent. Now, this would be one of the greatest return on investments by Atlantic Records, as YoungBoy easily turned up $100 million. Now, YoungBoy would release AI YoungBoy with banger songs like Untouchable, as well as Graffiti, my favorite song, and the following year he would release banger albums in 2018, Until Death Call My Name, Realer, For What's Important, For Respect, For Freedom, Decided, Master Day of Judgment, and 2018 for the most part was full of just classic songs, which pretty much crowned YoungBoy as the king of YouTube and had the youth in a chokehold. And now in a conversation with DJ Academics, YoungBoy explained how although he was the undisputed king of YouTube with the most views by any rapper, he still made no money. I never got paid for YouTube a day in my life. Ninjas make all the money off my YouTube, then they give me a small percentage of my shit. All that shit slavery or something. But you know, this the ish that we signed up for.
Yeah, I'm glad that he kept that in mind. It's like, yo, when you are broke and you just know you're talented and somebody hangs, you know, $50,000 over your head, bro, don't take that shit, bro. And it pretty much any deal they offer you when you don't have any leverage is gonna be a shitty deal. But I know people like Young Thug, people like like there's never gonna be niggas not signing to major labels, right? There's always gonna be somebody who needs that, but you know what I'm saying? It's just unfortunate, bro. It is very unfortunate what happens to young artists in the industry. At this point in my life, bro, I would know what to do if I had a song blow up and they tried to offer me $2 million for 5 albums and I know I'm hot right now. Come on, bro. Or if y'all gonna give me that much for it, then we need to switch up these percentages and I need to keep some of my music or something, because $100 million off of a $2 million investment is robbery.
In this business. Now, if you ask me, this is completely unethical, but this is how the music business works, because for a lot of rappers who sign to labels, a lot of them don't become as successful as YoungBoy. And they have the saying that for every 10 rappers that label signs, the one that becomes very successful,
bro, they can probably sign 100 artists with the money YoungBoy made them. Think about it. They're literally offering 16-year-olds or like some kid in fucking, I don't know, they be finding kids from overseas where they can offer them something like 20,000 US dollars. And in their currency, it is a lot more. But even still, it's like these kids will have hit songs and only got paid $20,000 for it.
They milk all that money to recoup for the 9 other people that they never made the money back on. But what often gets glossed over in this situation is a crime that occurred before YoungBoy even signed his deal with Atlantic, as him pretty much signed his deal with Atlantic Records being his meal ticket out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, leaving the streets, where he was facing up to 10 years for an attempted murder. Now, YoungBoy, like many rappers, signed...
That's what I'm saying, bro. These labels are getting smart. They're going after people where it's like, okay, yeah, he's not in a position to say no.
A contract without fully understand the legality and the legalese of how, you know, the paperwork and the music business work. And then understand that Atlantic would pretty much own his masters, which are the rights to his music, in perpetuity, which is forever. Before signing Atlantic Records.
Hey, and you know I probably sound like hella childish, but like, I don't understand the world in the sense of like, yes, you can make more money by only giving this kid 5 million, 2 million, or whatever they gave him. But to me personally, if I was the richest person on the planet, I swear I would still do good business. I just karma and all of these things that I believe in. I don't get where do people get off thinking like, well, if he don't know no better, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna do it. Like, I don't understand that type of thinking. And I'm not trying to be a holy ass person. Like, I'm not holier than you. But I'm just saying, I really don't understand that. Just because you can get away with it, why do it? Just be good. You know what I'm saying? That's why I feel like a lot of people is like actually evil or from a different like existence than me, bro. I swear.
NBA YoungBoy Conchel Golden was involved in a serious legal case stemming from an alleged drive-by shooting in Baton Rouge in November 2016. Now, YoungBoy is accused of firing a gun multiple times during the incident where he allegedly left the passenger shot in the neck. Now, the shooting involved multiple individuals, and YoungBoy was allegedly one of the passengers in the car. Now, the shooting was a retaliation for the death of Boozilla, which is YoungBoy's cousin who was killed before, and this shooting was the get back that they were looking for, and they really slid. Just a few weeks after the incident, YoungBoy was arrested on November 28, 2016, just before a scheduled performance in Austin, Texas. And
you know what, bro? What if these labels, and this is on some conspiracy shit, but what if these labels really be manipulating niggas deeper than we know? Like when you look at a Kanye or something, Kanye is literally, his mind has been blown to the point of a psychotic break. And what the fuck happened? You know what I'm saying? When I think about a YoungBoy, or when I think about Fulio and that boy Ace, like what if these labels see, okay, we want him. Maybe they approached him already, but he wasn't going for it. But they're like, well, how can we get him? Well, let's get him in a situation where he needs us. And in YoungBoy's case, that was having him slide for his homie. That what I'm trying to get at, bro, what if they did something to homie so YoungBoy has this reaction? You know, what if they had a hand in putting him in that situation? It sounds crazy, but I feel like, why not ask?
And the U.S. Marshals took him into custody, and he was extradited back to Louisiana, where he faced 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder and was held on a $200,000 bond. At just 17 years old, YoungBoy was eligible to be tried as an adult under Louisiana law. These charges carry the possibility of life imprisonment without parole if convicted. As soon as YoungBoy got released in May of 2017, it was quickly followed up by his hit single Untouchable, which talked about his experience in jail and really marked his rapper return to music after he signed his deal with Atlantic Records. Fast forward to 5 years later in 2022, YoungBoy released his Colors mixtape, which had crazy diss about King Von, the whole industry, and he was complaining that his label was taking his music off Apple Music, which is negatively impacting his charting data. Now, we all know for rappers, first week sale is one of the most important metrics, and with YoungBoy's label taking his music off because they didn't want it to be there for whatever reason, he felt that he was being sabotaged and they would silence his music because he was quote-unquote going at the other side, aka Lil Durk. Now, when it comes to Atlantic, many rappers have had issues.
I don't know if Atlantic and Sony and Universal is involved in street shit like that, but if King Von is on the same label as YoungBoy, maybe they're like, hey, we don't really want you damaging our artists. Okay, I can understand that. But I don't know. I believe the sabotage, but I believe it might be for something other than just, oh, he's talking too crazy. I don't think that's it.
Atlantic Records such as Lil Uzi Vert as well as
Personally,
Meek
I
Mill
don't think
for
that's
not promoting their projects, and YoungBoy kind of felt like he was in the same boat. Now, YoungBoy posted his YouTube community post, I was going #1 2 weeks straight with the mixtape, so they took it down off the charts. I don't give a F, you can't stop me. Don't sign to Atlantic Records if you're an artist. They're not going to support you if you live a certain way. And with that certain way being, it means you're a street rapper, you don't give a F, and you just have a certain bravado and want to speak your truth about certain situations that you may be getting silenced on. DJ Academics would put on The Breakfast Club and perfectly break down how NBA...
You know what I think, bro? I don't think it has nothing to... I think they like when you're young and dumb and live that lifestyle. I think they like when you're gonna die in some years or you're gonna be locked up in the next couple... I think they like that shit because your numbers go crazy when you get locked up. Your numbers go crazy after death. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's it, bro. I personally think what it is, maybe YoungBoy, they felt like, oh, this nigga's he's gonna get out of this deal. Damn, we need to keep him here, bro. We need to sabotage him, bro. We have to keep YoungBoy. We can't have him leave like Michael Jackson did Sony. We can't have him take all of his masters, bro. We need that shit. So what can we do? And I know it probably sounds like a conspiracy, bro, but I'm just saying, bro, even in the NCAA, there's conspiracies of coaches pulling strings just to get a kid at their school. And pulling strings can mean a lot of things. That's all I'm gonna say.
YoungBoy, despite dropping 20 plus projects to fill his album requirements for his contract, and how he was still a slave.
I get on the phone with these executives. I had to, you know how many people I talked to when I had to figure out what's going on at Atlantic? Why is Meek Mill not signed there no more? Why is Kodak Black about to be a free agent? Why did PNB Rock get dropped? PNB Rock was not originally on Empire. Everybody wants to just say, oh, Empire's getting art. No, he's an Atlantic artist.
NBA YoungBoy.
NBA YoungBoy. Why did they tell that young man, and I'm getting from the source like the guys. I'm talking to even sometimes their lawyers. Why did Atlantic basically tell YoungBoy, listen, after 22 albums that you dropped in a time period where we only contracted you to do 5, hey, we'll negotiate and give you this amount of money, but we ain't giving you a motherfucking part of your masters back. Oof. These are real things. What does that mean?
This is sick, bro. 22 albums on a 5-album deal. They saying we can't give you nothing other than some royalty money. And think about it. If you was independent, you would have got all of your royalty money from them 22 albums, bro. They cannot let YoungBoy free. They can't, bro. If they do, YoungBoy will be too rich, too powerful. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Michael Jackson. Same thing with a Prince. You know what I'm saying? Once these artists have too much influence and start to understand their worth and what's going on and how unfair it really is, bro. I think that's another reason why they sign kids from overseas, bro. Because you're young, dumb, and barely speak English. You know what I'm saying? I think it's easier to get a street dude than it would be to sign somebody that has a master's degree. You know what I'm saying? Like,
when YoungBoy started, he's 17. He's 22 now. He don't understand what the fuck going on. He's just putting out music.
Yeah.
It took a team to be around him. Now he just started, and that's why he loves Birdman so much. Even though, you can say whatever about Birdman. Birdman helped him understand, and his team as well. Bro, you just satisfy theoretically you satisfy your contract 4 times.
4 times. That's what I'm saying, bro. He already got a shitty deal, bro. But 4 times over, he just gave them this music. They made like 10 times over what they gave him, bro. Like, really let that sink in. He did that shit for free. And I do believe YoungBoy has like hella, like 5 more classic albums in him. I believe YoungBoy has an unlimited amount of good music left. So it's not that I feel like he gave away his best music. It's just that he will never get that shit back. I feel like I'm Gucci Man in 2006. That's not YoungBoy's song. Every time you stream that, YoungBoy maybe gets broke off some of that. Maybe, but I doubt it. You know what I'm saying?
Eating crazy off of you. Look how much they own your YouTube money. They own this.
And then, bro, that'd be my thing too. YoungBoy has to be in a 360, bro. Cause how are you getting my YouTube money, bro? What? YouTube too? Like, if that's like me signing the deal and then they're like, yeah, but we need 48 Laws too. We need that too, bro. Cause it's gonna, as you get more popular, 48 Laws is gonna grow. You know what I'm saying? But the truth is, this channel has nothing to do with my music. I don't even talk about my music on here. You get what I'm saying? But I guarantee you, somebody in the industry, if it got to that point, they would try and work that out. I guarantee you they would.
These are things that to a 17-year-old coming in the game, that was like, when he got in the games, NBA YoungBoy was an artist who got a suspended 10-year sentence for being in the drive-by. He not thinking about, well, this is what a music contract looks like. This is how I should do it.
Exactly.
No, he's just, fuck it, I'm in here.
Happy's getting money.
So
Happy's
now
taking care of his family.
he signs to a label, and the label is seeing 10 times what they even bargained from him.
I think it was
Forget the negotiation
I think
power.
it was a
He
setup.
doesn't even know what it means. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to music education. Like we should. I remember for the longest I was confused about the difference between masters and publishing.
The thing is about that whole music education, like, okay, yeah, maybe we should, because I went to college, but there was no courses for the route in life I inevitably decided to take. Like, yes, I'm a music marketer, but no curriculum is there for a music marketer who's also a rapper, who's also a YouTuber. There's no lane for it, right? So you need someone like a Birdman or somebody with this knowledge to pass it on to you, but who's going to give you that knowledge until you've already been successful? And then even when you're successful, who's going to do it for free? And I'm not saying Birdman charged YoungBoy anything, but we don't know their relationship. It could have been money. It could have been sex. You know what I'm saying? Who knows is all I'm saying. But it's actually really hard to get this information. And if you're not somebody like myself that can dive into books and knowledge and research, and you'll never know this shit. And nobody's ever going to tell you that if you're worth scamming, they'll scam you for sure. But nobody's going to tell you this until you ask the right questions and are valuable enough to them. Is how I truly think that.
Mm-hmm. You get me? Mm-hmm. Okay, how do you get paid from Spotify? I break all these shit down.
In another Instagram post following the incident, YoungBoy released a post saying, I said they can have the next 4 albums for free. All I want is my masters, and they still told me no. It's a dirty game.
That's what I'm saying. Even that is insinuating that YoungBoy's best music is behind him. I don't believe that, because Contrell, I fucking love that album. I know it's old now, but I love that album. And even back then, people was saying like, "Oh, YoungBoy don't got it like that. YoungBoy trying to stop the violence." Man, yeah, bro, I feel for YoungBoy for real.
NBA YoungBoy was waiting the release of his last album, The Last Slimito, of his contract, where he would essentially become a free agent, where he could go independent or renegotiate a new contract agreement with heavy leverage. Academics would confirm that Atlantic Records would actually offer NBA YoungBoy $25 million for a new deal, to which he strongly declined because he wanted ownership of his music, aka his masters, more than anything. Now, this would be the same time that YoungBoy
That's smart. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. They want you to stay young, dumb, and in the cycle of, they want you to be high and in jail and fucking hoes. They don't want you to ever learn how valuable you are, bro. And for YoungBoy, if re-signing with them and them paying you $25 million, it's not enough. You saying I can't get my masters and I won't have masters going forward? Nah, I'll just cut my losses. You feel me? Like, just go somewhere where everything from this point on, I own, 50% or whatever the fuck,
Much lash out on YouTube and streamers, tell them to get a real job, because they were making hundreds of thousands of dollars off reacting to his music. However, he was barely making anything because the label was pocketing everything, and he got nothing out of that. The loss of ownership that YoungBoy experienced forced him to never do business with Atlantic Records ever again, as they gave him a slave deal, as he called it. Now, later that year, after he released Last Slimito, he signed with Motown Records for $60 million, which was 30 times the amount of the original deal, 4 or 5 years with Atlantic. With the Make America Slime Again tour coming up next, YoungBoy being the king of YouTube for years, and on the road to being a $100 million ninja, if he isn't already, what do you think is next for NBA YoungBoy?
Yeah, man, let me know what y'all think down in the comments. This shit is crazy, and I feel like it's important for us to talk about it and examine these deals, bro. That's why in the title, I'm going to probably put that nobody's talking about these deals, bro, and how shitty they really are for black people, for young kids, for foreign individuals trying to come to America. There's shitty deals all around. I'm not saying in the music industry, because, hey, they built it. They built their structure. They can do with it what they want. But as artists, we have to navigate more smarter. Get like YoungBoy. Even if you sign that first shitty deal, always in the back of your head, be thinking of how you gonna get out of that bitch. Because YoungBoy was in a situation, he had no choice but to sign it, obviously. But that's it for the video. I don't want to ramble too much. Let me know what y'all think, man. Peace out.